Welcome back.
Here we are.
1/3 of the season is in the books. Oh, always forget to move that microphone every week.
Maybe people could actually hear us.
Probably not. Third of the season in the books. We're doing the first trimester grades this episode. Are we gonna still do the recaps of last week's matchups?
I think we can do like a quick recap.
Quick summary, and then we'll do our first trimester grades, and we'll close out with our predictions. And as an added bonus, we're not just grading your teams; we're grading ourselves. We're gonna look at how we did a third of the way through the year on our predictions, because obviously we're playing to see who's better. That's how fantasy works. So we'll see who comes out on top. He knows. I don't. So, good news, bad news, we'll find out.
Yep.
Anyway, let's get to it. First things first, talking about the quick recap here. Matchup number 1 from week 5.
Week 4.
Matchup number 1 from week 4. I'm so disappointed in myself. There were so many signs that it was like I was going to keep the streak alive.
It was a weird week, but I mean, Odell Beckham Jr. I'm pretty sure scored more last week than he has like in the other first 3 weeks combined.
I mean, this was a great week for him. I think he's had at least one other decent week.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure he had more this week than he had in the first 3 combined.
I'm not disputing that, but like so he had 15. That
he had 25 in the first 3 weeks, 35 or 36 last week.
Hey,
it's kind of ridiculous.
But I will take him being a wide the number 11 ranked wide receiver now. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's great. It was also really funny because we were watching the game. It's like, oh shit, Jason gets his first touchdown of the year out of Jarvis Landry, and it's a passing touchdown to the person he's playing against.
It was so great. It was fantastic. So, honestly, I'm like I said, I'm disappointed in myself. My team, aside from Dak and OBJ, underperformed terribly. But the thing is, like, okay, so I've been struggling with like Derrick Henry was on a bye because of COVID. Devontae Adams out because of injury, despite the fact that he apparently from his Twitter account wanted to play.
Yeah. It's a hamstring injury. It's tough. Like, and you don't really know you're 100% until you actually go and start running.
And aside from that, but I think he wanted to play, and his team was like, nah, bro.
No, doctors are like, bro, it's fine. We're playing Atlanta. They can't win a game to save their lives. Like,
and like, I don't know that there was anything I could have done aside from like, but actually, honestly, the difference is if I have Henry or Adams at the flex instead of Hayden Hurst, who I had to start as the best possible option, I win. Hell, if I started N'Keal Harry over Hayden Hurst, I win this matchup. It just sucks. I know Jason could also make the claim.
Jason left 20.
Melvin Gordon.
So he left 20 points on his bench. Though,
right.
Like,
but I'm just saying, like, I was playing at a handicap this week through no fault of my own. And I still put up 123. I'm not that mad about it. And I'm just disappointed in myself that I didn't keep the streak going. So
I said Jason get his first win. He got his first win.
So Windows surprising at 3-1 on an upset of a very hot McMillan team. This is a matchup of 2-1 teams that were, we thought was going to be one of the highest scoring matchups of the week. I think
Mike Davis is the best decision Window has made so far this year, dropping like 40% of his budget.
Didn't you talk a lot of shit about it when he did it too? Like you said, we both said he had to do it.
The only thing I said was like he used like 70% of his budget,
which he did,
and then I immediately followed up with like 40% went to like Mike Davis, but he had to do because of McCaffrey.
As an aside, can we talk about the George Kittle of it all? The fact that Window makes a trade for a tight end, promptly benches that tight end for George Kittle, who throws up a 30-burger.
That was a part of my whole thing last week why I wasn't sure why he traded for a tight end when he's got George Kittle. He's got Noah Fant. Like, why get another one in there? It didn't make too much sense to me.
He's playing chess, not checkers, because you think about it. He traded away Myles Gaskin, who McMillan started, and put up 7.7. If McMillan doesn't have Myles Gaskin, he has DeAndre Swift that he probably starts, who puts up more points. Window played the long con here. He's playing chess, and McMillan's playing checkers, is what's happening. But no, it was I don't get the trade, really.
Why do you think he wins if he gets DeAndre Swift?
He doesn't. I'm saying he doesn't win. I'm saying he puts up more points.
Oh, okay. I thought you said he would have won. I was like,
no.
I was like, he lost by 37.
Bro, DeAndre Swift put up 13, not 50.
So Gardner Minshew had a bounce back game, like I said he would. James Robinson, much more reasonable, much more where I expect him to be.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe Carolina's offense is just good, and it doesn't matter that it's McCaffrey because
Maybe.
Mike Davis has looked really,
They
really
might have
good.
a really good offensive line. Honestly, it might just be that. I mean, McCaffrey's also a stud though.
Yeah,
but-
George Kittle finally, came to play. Like, I'm pretty sure he's been pretty quiet. He was hurt. Yeah, he got hurt in week 1.
Right.
But I mean, Jesus, fucking 15 catches for 183 and a touchdown.
Philly is a toilet paper defense.
I mean, but 32 points for a tight end is always going to be
Oh yeah.
massive. So
Meanwhile, and McMillan kind of had a little bit of a down week compared to what he's been doing week in, week out. So it's neither one's in real trouble. Both are playoff, like looking like playoff teams.
I'm still expecting some regression out of Windows team. Like,
Sure.
no McCaffrey. Although
Sure.
I will say, like, I did pick him as one of the top 3 things. Like, I'd said, like,
I think I had a bottom 3.
I said the whole Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Who was the last one of his? Oh, George Kittle.
Yeah.
I was like that 1, 2, 3 punch, but it also didn't make a ton of sense that he benched Tyreek Hill. I guess because he was afraid that the Chiefs weren't going to play on Monday night.
I think that's what it was.
Although I don't know how much it really would have cost him, like, because I feel like if he benched someone, it was going to be either Robbie Anderson or Devin Singletary. So, like, not like it was a massive change. Like, he's starting Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett's been a top 5 wide receiver all year. Like, he was starting him no matter what. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, moving on. In the lowest scoring matchup of the week.
Really quick before we get into this, shout out to Alex who is getting married today.
Yeah.
How
Congrats,
about
buddy.
that?
I wonder if he's watching the podcast.
Love you, buddy. No. if you're watching the podcast, I will pay you. But we love you, man. Seriously. Couldn't be happier for you and Sarah. And hope the day's awesome. So yeah. Just want to give him a shout out. And hopefully, maybe this will change your fantasy luck because so far it's been a really, really not a great time. You are pizzaing when you should French fry.
Right, yeah. You're going to have a bad time. I said going into last week, I might hit the panic button on his team.
Yeah. No, like, it's time.
So, when we get into the grades, I'll have a little bit more of an explanation behind his team. But yeah. Daryl and Nick move up to 2 and 2.
Has Alex, I don't even know if Alex. I mean, we don't need to go back and look. I mean, I don't know that Alex has broken 100 yet this year.
Oh, he's had to have broken 100.
Can we do
let's check it really quick. Like, I can't imagine he hasn't. There's no way he hasn't scored a. Let's see.
Back
89. Full schedule. Here we go.
I'm sorry.
110, 105. Back-to-back really rough weeks in 76 and 89.8. So
yeah. So, and just really quick back to their matchup just for a second. Daryl and Nick, again, not necessarily sitting pretty, only putting up 100. I mean, this is again the way fantasy works. They were, I think, 1, 2. So they were 8th in scoring for the week, and they come out with a win because they're playing against Alex.
Yeah, must be nice.
Yes, must be nice. I had that happen for the first 2 weeks.
I will say, like, Nick Chubb got hurt early on in that game.
And he's gonna be out for a while, right?
I actually don't know. I know he's out this week.
I'm pretty sure he's gonna be gone for a little bit.
Up to 6 weeks. Jeez.
Huge. Daryl texted me about this when it
God.
happened. He's like, "This really hurts, especially not having Kareem Hunt."
Wow.
Because here's the thing, without that number 1, that's your first round pick. I think maybe a second round pick. Was his first, second? I don't remember. But
Nick Chubb, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was second.
First.
No, it was second because CEH was his first. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you're right.
But either way, having him out,
yeah,
all of a sudden,
I did not know he was going to be out for 6 weeks.
Your flex spot gets a lot weaker.
I'm going to have to adjust my grading of Zach's team a little bit because I didn't think that it was going to be 6 weeks that he was going to be out. So
yeah, that's rough.
All right, moving on. Brad goes out and gets the win.
Another nail biter, and this is actually I'm sorry for James for this because again we're talking about all fantasy all being relative. 3rd highest scorer this week, and he comes out with a loss. Yeah. Daryl Nick 3rd lowest, he's 3rd highest. Inverse results. It's crazy.
Yeah. I didn't do the whole breakdown. I did the breakdown last week of like wins against the average and like top 5 scoring weeks. I didn't do it again. I didn't add on to it for this week, but like. It creates an argument for wanting to do, having like 2 records. One, your individual matchup, and the second one, like playing against the average, because it's just like a really shitty situation to be in. It's like to play one of 2 people,
It helps that Joe Mixon put up a 40 burger.
Out of nowhere, has Joe Mixon done anything up to this point?
Yeah, he's been all right.
Really?
Just kidding.
22
Thought he
points in the
was.
first 3 weeks. He's averaging like 7 points per game and then drops 40.
I mean, it helped that he had 2 TDs. They actually had 3. He had 3.
Yeah, like...
He had two rushes.
2 rushes. Yeah,
and a
25
touchdown.
for 151 and then 2 for 6. Or sorry, 6 for 30 and a touchdown. It's kind of gross.
Yeah, 3 TDs. We'll get you there.
Yeah. And then into my matchup.
Once again,
I will say that obviously I had my worst week by far. And despite only getting 70 this week, I'm still averaging 125 a week.
It's impressive.
Yeah, no, like I'm obviously I had a down week. Austin Eckler getting hurt in like the first drive of the game.
What happened to Calvin Ridley?
Really hurt. I don't know. I think he had 6 targets, just didn't have a catch this week. It was just like a really weird week for my team in general.
The thing I've been saying though, week in, week out, this is what you're worried about when you start Logan Thomas, is the 2-point weeks or the 1-point weeks. You know what I mean?
Obviously. Like, no, like my tight end situation has been bleak all year. I know that. I've been working on different things, but like every time I start talking to someone about a trade, it's just like,
I got 3 tight ends.
We're nowhere close.
I got 3 tight ends that'll average you at least like 8 points a week.
Yeah. So.
Low floor, but.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry.
So Austin Eckler getting hurt.
Decent floor.
Didn't help. Calvin Ridley giving me 0 didn't help.
Nope.
But here's part of the thing is, I was literally at Caddy's with Zach, and I was like, I want to bench Russell Wilson for Aaron Rodgers so bad. It's another one of these weeks where it's like Aaron Rodgers' matchup just looked so good, and I couldn't pull the trigger. Cost me 10 points.
The bigger one that hurts is that leaving Adam Thielen on your bench.
Well, I don't see how I don't leave him on my bench going into the week. Obviously, in retrospect, if I knew Calvin Ridley was going to put up 0, if I knew Miles Sanders was going to have his worst game that he's had so far, like, yes, obviously, I left a winning lineup on my bench. And I don't think there are very many people who can say that every week, because the depth problem is so bad for so many people right now. Like, we'll get into that into the grades. We'll look at people's rosters and see where they land on.
For depth, I'll tell you.
Depth is so hard to come
It's
by.
tough
And
this year with
I
COVID.
literally left a winning lineup on my bench. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, even like my defense situation, I thought Ravens against Washington was a slam dunk. 6 points. Chiefs against New England drops 20. It's just like,
right.
What the hell? So yeah, I had my worst week of the season by far. Zach's team didn't have a particularly great week.
Something's going on out there.
Zach didn't even have that particularly good of a week, 110, but obviously.
Hi.
What's his name? You know his name.
This is Ashley's cousin's daughter Mia. She's adorable.
You want to go? Okay. Come here. Come on up.
They were... I don't know if they're coming in or not. Are you coming in? Okay, bye. Can you shut the door, babe?
Yeah, so Zach's team didn't even have that great of a week overall, but
I mean, he's I don't
it was fine.
In the same way that
but he obviously is going to get a bump from Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt had a great day because of Nick Chubb going down. And I just had the kind of the reverse. My one of my best running backs goes down.
Kareem Hunt is potentially a top 3 RB at season's end, depending upon how these next 6 weeks go. Because think about the numbers in that rushing attack that they've been splitting. They've each had like games where they put up like almost 20. So
yeah, let's get into the grades here. Get into the grades. We can start at the top. We can click into Zach's team. So I will say, as I did my rankings today on how teams went, Zach's team, I'm reluctant to say Zach's team is the only team that gets an A. He gets an A for a couple of reasons. Number one,
I'm gonna.
He's at 4-0, obviously.
I'm gonna do 2 things.
What?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, he's at 4-0, obviously. I still and that's despite losing Saquon. His running back situation is still not as good as you want it to be. Because first of all, what running backs does he have on his bench? He has James White, who's running back number 55.
Yeah.
He has Chris Thompson, who's running back number 51.
Right.
Jamal Williams, who's running back number 39.
He has no real depth.
He has no depth. He has 2 running backs. That
but who does? I mean,
no, I agree. So here's the main thing: is he has 2 running backs right now who he can start. It's Josh Jacobs and Kareem Hunt.
Right.
Now, Josh Jacobs is the number 9 fantasy running back, and that looks really good until you realize that if you take out that 34-point day,
right,
he's averaging you 9 points per game.
Right.
That's not an RB1.
Right.
Like,
But then again, there are things about like boomer bust guys, you know what I mean, that are going to have those weeks that
sure, but
that
I don't
bump
think
their
Josh
average.
Jacobs is that. I think that it's just he got his best matchup of the year in week 1, and that's it. Because he has Kansas City this week, who has played well. Tampa Bay's defense has played well. Like he gets the Jets in week 13, which is cool, but I don't think that he. Like I said, I'd said it last week on the podcast. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he doesn't go above 20 for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So I think like Josh Jacobs is a little bit on the decline, but like he's getting the best value possibly could out of Josh Allen, number 3 quarterback, and I think he got him in like the 11th or 12th round. Travis Kelce is the only tight end who is just doing exactly like top tier tight end that is doing exactly what you want.
Right.
So I went back to his wide receivers. Didn't love his wide receivers going into the year. DK Metcalf is the number 10 wide receiver. That's his bright spot. Robert Woods is at 18. Devontae Parker is at 20. He's
definitely weaker at receiver, obviously, than he is at running back. But I mean, the value of running backs. It shows you how important it is to have a top flight running back or two. If you can.
So, like I said, he's 4-0. He's gonna get. He obviously gets the number 1 grade right now.
I will give him. I'm debating between like an A and an A minus, and like the only thing about the minus is although again he is 4-0, which is, I mean, especially in a COVID season,
he's 4-0. He has great production out of his quarterback. He's getting great production out of his tight end.
It's very important.
I think that
here's the
things are gonna regress because his wide receivers and running backs aren't nearly as good as they seem in this moment. And number 2 to that is he's also had, I think, 2 or 3 weeks. This
is the stat I wanted to point out, which is why I was starting with an A minus.
That he's third in points scored.
He's third in points scored by a decent margin, and more importantly, he's benefited from the softest schedule in the first trimester.
By far. By 50 points, by more than 10 points per game.
Right, less than 100 points per game against in our league right now is a low average.
He's gonna decline. He's gonna regress. There's no way he can't.
Which is why, again, I'm flirting between that A and the A minus. But I will say there's a lot.
He's 4-0. He gets an A.
There's a lot to like.
I don't like his running back or wide receiver situation still.
There's a lot to like on his team.
Kareem Hunt gets the bump now that I just learned on the podcast that Chubb's out for 6 weeks.
With that, I'll give him the A. But the bottom line is, like, I think there's a lot to like with his team. Josh Allen, Josh Jacobs, Kareem Hunt, Travis Kelce. There are a lot of guys. And
I still don't like Josh Jacobs.
I know you don't. And honestly, receiver, even as bad as they are, they're all like essentially aside from Devontae Parker, who's 21, they're all top 20 wide receivers, which is like fine if you have like top 10 RBs. So he's got he's got a strong starting lineup and a weak bench, which is going to be a recurring theme this year.
And once we start getting into bye weeks, you might run into some issues with that.
Right, but then again, everyone's going to have the same challenges.
Yeah.
Moving on to number 2 in the league would be Windows team, which has been, I think, for me anyway, the biggest surprise because this is the number 1 team in scoring. And you were right about the 1-2-3 punch. You really,
Mike Davis has stepped up into that spot. So the main thing, the grade that I'm going to give Window, which considering he is the number 1 in points scored, is currently sitting in 2nd place, I'm only going to give him a C+.
Are you kidding me?
I have reasons.
Are you kidding me?
I have reasons. I have a lot of reasons.
Wow. Okay, please talk because that is my grade was not going to be a C+. Please talk.
So higher is what you were saying?
Yes, I'm going to give him a higher grade than a C+. I guarantee. I haven't decided what grade I'm going to give him yet. I'm doing these. He's planned his grades out.
I have planned my grades out.
I'm more kind of like going by gut instinct. That's how I do my grades.
Okay.
But please divulge.
Okay. Number 1. He's also another one of those spots where he has 2 startable running backs, and that's it. And James Robinson, I would bet anything right now he sits as running back number 6. I bet anything he finishes outside the top 15 on the year.
I don't disagree.
That is going to regress by a lot.
I disagree though with your point that he only has 2 startable running backs, especially
Devin Singletary is a borderline flex.
Devin Singletary is a flex play.
He's borderline. He's 24.
Latavius Murray also is coming off a 20-point week last week and might be starting. I mean, he's getting touches at least. He's getting carries. He had 14 last week. Like, I'm not saying that you want to be starting like you're going to be touchdown reliant if you're starting.
He's a
with Latavius
touchdown.
Murray.
Like he got 2 touchdowns,
But
4-4-7.
you could do worse with a. I mean, like
After a 20-point day, he's
my
still only running back.
my first backup running back is Adrian Peterson. Like
the starter.
I get it. I'm just saying like it's they're probably getting similar volume in terms of carries.
He's averaging you 5 points per game if you take out his random 2-touchdown game. Alvin Kamara is the workhorse.
Well, duh.
He's the number 1 running back in fantasy.
What I'm saying is, I don't think Windows team, as far as running back depth is concerned, I don't think it's as bad as like other teams have it. Some other teams have it, and it also helps that like he owns the Carolina committee. We'll see how that committee looks when McCaffrey gets back. If it is,
I assume McCaffrey will go back to being who he is, but he hasn't really lost anything by McCaffrey being out.
No,
like I said, I think James Robinson is going to regress
Why
in
a C+?
huge way.
Sorry, go on.
Okay, so I actually broke it down by positions.
Okay,
and I gave grades on those positions. And one of the major problems with Windows Team is he's averaging 14.5 points per game out of his quarterback.
Yeah, I mean
that is horrendous. The next closest team on that, because I actually like saw that number and I was like, holy shit, how is it so bad? The only one who's even like close to him on that is James, who is averaging an extra 5 points per game out of his quarterback.
So here's why I'm gonna throw a Window. I mean, I honestly was thinking about giving Window an A-, and I think I'm like between an A- and a B+ for him. I'm gonna go ahead and give him a B+ because it's still early on in the year. There's still a lot to be seen. But here's why I like his team, and honestly, like
I don't love it.
B+
like,
right now.
I said that I thought he could finish in the top 3.
All right. So I'm gonna give you the reasons why he is a B+. There are things that are inflating his team right now. He has the number 1 kicker and number 1 defense right now, which is an inflation. It shows you that his team, he's getting the most value out of those positions that other people aren't. That's just kind of luck.
Also, he got a 26-point day out of the Colts.
Again, there are inflations
They're not playing the Jets.
But the rest of his roster overall, if you look position rank, and here we'll get to quarterback in a second. But James Robinson right now is the first 4 weeks of the season is the number 6 running back in fantasy. Mike Davis, despite not really playing until McCaffrey's injury, is a top 20 RB.
It happened in the second week though. Like
he's playing on 3 weeks and is a top 20 RB.
Okay.
He had 1 carry in week 2. So really off of
but he had 8 catches. He was they were behind. He was the running back.
Yeah,
pretty much that entire game.
In any event, Mike Davis has been a stud since he's been in.
Since
Tyler Lockett.
He's been good.
Tyler Lockett has been the number 4 wide receiver in fantasy.
I think that also is a little bit of an over thing. Like Russell Wilson's not going to keep throwing 5 touchdowns.
George Kittle just put up 30. Tyreek Hill is a number 7 wide receiver.
His tight end situation is probably his best.
His third wide receiver is the number 13 wide receiver in fantasy. And again, you were talking about the Carolina offense just being good. Robbie Anderson of all people, he's got a good, strong starting lineup 4 weeks into the season. I'm not saying it'll hold, but right now, he deserves. Hi. What are you doing?
I'm gonna go outside and ride my scooter.
Have fun. Okay. So the bottom line is he's got a strong starting lineup, and his bench isn't terrible. I mean, he has Noah Fant, which is potential trade value when he comes back.
No,
his running backs aren't terrible.
He has on his bench. He has value in his tight ends.
Right,
and that's pretty much where I see the value ending.
But the bottom line is this: I'm giving him a B+ because I think he is getting the boost from his defense and his kicker, and I do think he's going to have issues with staying power, but. He's 3-1 and the top scorer in the league. You can't. C+ is disrespectful. I'm not on the window train, by the way. So I've never been on the window train this year.
Like I said, he's had 2 really weird weeks. Like his first week without McCaffrey, Colts go off for like a 30-point game. Despite the fact that his quarterback has been such trash, James Robinson is not going to be a top 10 running back.
I didn't touch on that, by the way. The quarterback thing is a non-issue. Because quarterbacks are the one thing where you can get replacement value. You can stream quarterbacks.
You can. He just hasn't. Like I said, he's averaging 15 points per game.
But why is he playing checkers?
Zach, and I think it was McMillan are getting 30 points per game out of our quarterbacks.
Dak.
You're not at 30 points per game.
You sure?
You are averaging 22.5 out of your quarterback per week.
Really?
I looked it up. Yes. 22
That
and a half points.
surprises me.
22 and a half points per game out of your quarterback.
I gotta
But
check
again, you're getting 7 to 8 points more per game than Window is out of your quarterback.
Right.
Like,
Right.
maybe I'm a little low on his grade, but I have a reason behind it.
A C plus for the top score is fairly low. Just saying.
Because
I get it.
He has unsustainable production from players that, like, that's just it. He's getting unsustainable production out of 3 or 4 different players on his roster.
Can we just...
It will not continue.
Can we just, before we talk about McMillan's grade, can we stop and appreciate he has not spent $1 of his free agent budget yet? Not $1. Saving it up for one big purchase.
So...
McMillan.
Into McMillan's team. So I'm giving him a B. And I think kind of on the opposite side of things here, he's had a few things go against him that I think are going to cause his team to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Julio Jones has been in and out of the lineup. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick fucking Mahomes. Like, Alvin Kamara is the #1 running back in fantasy. That is not a fluke.
Nope.
Like, he has that ability.
Nope.
James Conner did absolutely nothing week 1 and then has already had a bye, which is why he sits as running back number 26 right now.
Right.
But outside of his injury,
James Conner's the real
19.1, 22.9. I was concerned after week 1 against the Giants because, like, you got the Giants in week 1 and this is what you did.
Right.
He has already had his bye now. That's why his numbers are a little less than they should be. Yeah, so he traded away Hunter Henry. He better hope Darren Waller doesn't get hurt.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the only tight end he has right now.
It is, but as long as Darren Waller does not get hurt or get any kind of COVID issue, that you're fine starting him week in, week out. Yeah. I would give McMillan the same grade right now as Window, maybe a little higher in the same category. Like, I would say in that B plus A minus range, depending. And actually, I guess this is where I'll give the nod to. I'm gonna say B plus, and here's why. Mahomes, stud. Like you said, Kamara, stud. Connor, stud. Scary Terry, again, I have McMillan one of my top 3 teams, so this is my guy. I've been defending him every podcast. Scary Terry's been the number 12 wide receiver in fantasy, like I said he could be. The real question mark for me is Deontay Johnson, because I was big on him too, and he really hasn't materialized. Yeah. McMillan, if you want to trade him, I'm willing to make an offer. If you want to, like he's saying, if you want to back up tight end, holla at your boy, because I want him. But, you know, Darren Waller is a starting guy every week. You know, his flex play is right now, and here's the thing, his flex play right now, just in the lineup that he has, is Tyler Boyd with Julio Jones on his bench.
Yeah, Julio Jones has been hurt. So, like, that's the thing. I think Julio Jones will eventually get healthy. Yeah. Will eventually become. I mean, he might not finish as a top 10 wide receiver because through 4 weeks he hasn't really gotten the amount of work that you expected out of him. I think that his team is going to get better at the wide receiver position. Right. He has 2 solid running backs. He has a solid tight end. He has a solid quarterback. He's another one of these spots where the depth is the problem. If you take out the quarterback position, he doesn't have anybody inside the top 30 at their position.
So I agree within reason. The one thing I will say is I think DeAndre Swift and Myles Gaskin are guys you can start at the flex on a bye week and live with it. Like, Myles Gaskin is the guy in Miami, apparently. Fuck me, right? And DeAndre Swift, you know, he's been averaging about like almost
8 points per game.
Yeah, like almost
8.8.
And that's what you need out of like a flex play.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like I said, it goes back to the concept of like no one has a ton of depth.
Right.
So like it's just another one of those spots where if Kamara goes down, he's screwed.
Right.
Like it's one like, and he's still doing fine despite Julio Jones being in that situation where he's not getting as much as you would think.
We're all one injury away from the shit house.
Yep.
So that was the top 3 teams in the order. Now we're talking about you and I. We'll start with you since you're number 4 in the standings.
Yep. So I've given myself a grade of also a B.
So you're okay. So you're putting yourself with McMillan.
Yeah, same kind of area as McMillan. I think he's, yeah. I had obviously like a really shitty week this week, but one thing that I'm like, I think that's the one thing that I have more than most teams is that depth. I have Austin Eckler sitting on my bench. Do you hate my starting lineup this week? No. I get to plug in Adam Thielen this week. It's like, and I also still have Jerick McKinnon sitting on my bench. I have Julian Edelman sitting.
How long is it Eckler out?
I think I don't think they've said definitively, or they put him on the IR, so at least 3 weeks. I didn't know that they'd put him on the IR, so I might need to switch something out with that. It says a hamstring injury. Yeah.
Yeah, the best case scenario is week 8.
At least 3 weeks. So,
but it might be like more like in the 4 to 6 week range. I mean,
yeah.
The thing is like that's because Eckler was really one of the big pieces of your depth there in terms of this lineup. But there's also, I mean, you have Jerick McKinnon's fine.
He's the number 11 running back right now.
You have a dream. Honestly, I'm surprised you haven't traded Rodgers.
I've been in talks with a few different people. Nothing has really
materialized. Because you have the best quarterback in fantasy in Russell Wilson, who is having an MVP season. I mean, he's unbelievable. And so overall, you do have a strong team.
So I have 2 top 6 wide receivers, and that's after Calvin Ridley had a 0-point game. Keenan Allen's also in that wide receiver 2 range. Ezekiel Elliott, obviously a top 5 running back. Austin Eckler, after not playing last week, is at 16. Miles Sanders missed week 1 and then had a bad week last week, which is why he's pretty much,
So
he's all right. Like,
I'm also going to give you.
My tight end situation is where it's just so bad,
I
gotta figure something.
And
out.
I'm flirting between like a B and a B plus for you based on that. Like I don't. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I think you're 4th in scoring if I'm correct, right?
I'm 4th in scoring.
Right. So okay. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, you're 4th in scoring. You're putting up a healthy clip of
putting
almost
up like 125 a week.
Right, which is totally fine. You've had a hard schedule.
Where am I actually in that? I know I'm obviously not
in the points against.
Yeah, I know I'm not as bad as
holy shit.
As Jason.
4th, you're 4th.
4th. So yeah.
So like I'm gonna say, like I said, I'm just between a B and a B plus. I'll give you the B plus only because of Russell Wilson, and it's because he's gonna like. He's been nuts. He's averaging over 30 a game himself.
He also just had a down week, too. He only had 20.
Against Miami, surprisingly.
Yeah, he only had 20. I was saying, like, I really wanted to pull the trigger and bench Russell Wilson for Aaron Rodgers, and I just couldn't.
But you can't do it against Miami.
But I've done it already, and it burned me.
Right.
It cost me a win already once this year. So I was like, no, I got to start Russell Wilson.
I do think Miles Sanders is going to end up on your bench more often than not. I think your starting lineup's going to be really Zeke.
So.
Like,
I've started Miles Sanders every week I could so far.
That's so crazy.
He's getting 23 touches a game.
I get it, but he's averaging 13 points a game.
Okay, he did have a bad week last week. I don't know if that counts his thing, but 23 touches, 18.6. 23 touches, 12.7. The big thing is he had 13. How many receiving? He only had 15 touches against San Francisco this week,
right.
Which was surprising to me. He's gonna be in that range of like 10 to 12 points all the times. It's all about does he get that touchdown? And when you're getting 23 touches a game,
I mean,
I'm expecting it.
I mean, but that's his. It's 23, 22, 15.
He also gets, Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
Are
the next 2 weeks.
And then the Giants and Dallas.
And Dallas, who can't tackle it. And then Giants again. And then Cleveland, who just, despite going up by like 1 billion points, still gave up 38 this week.
I will say the benefit
Seattle's defense has not been good against
the benefit of Miles Sanders is you get Dallas's defense in the fantasy championship.
And Arizona's defense hasn't been amazing.
The season lasts.
Yeah. No, I think he obviously the next 2 weeks are his 2 toughest matchups. I feel like
I don't even remember. I give you a B plus.
I give myself a B. That is where I am at.
I've been pretty liberal with some of these early grades because I'm going to be a little bit harder on the later ones.
It's funny because I feel like I'm in the opposite direction there. I'm a little more easy on some of the people later on.
So speaking of teams later on, oops, I went to the wrong one. Speaking of teams later on, 5th place, rounding out the 5 spot. Yours truly, Jaboy. How do we feel about my team? I mean, I am exactly where I should be in terms of the total table scoring. This is where kind of like there's like that tier of the teams above 500, kind of. There's you and I are around the same spot, and then there's a little kind of drop off of about 30 points.
So
I have the other tab open too. Don't matter. You're good.
So I have given you my grade that I'm giving you is a C plus. It's slightly below where I was at, obviously, and the main reason for that is
you gave yourself a B. You gave me a C plus.
I wasn't ever really doing minuses. So
I do minuses. Okay.
I didn't really do minuses.
Okay.
Yeah, it's either like you get the C plus, B plus.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you a C plus, and
okay.
There's a few things that have gone against you, obviously, like Devontae Adams missing multiple weeks now.
Kenny Galladay
hurts.
Derrick Henry.
So
all the guys who have missed time.
Derrick Henry hasn't really missed. I mean, he had his bye week.
He had his bye week.
Yeah.
He is the number what running back in fantasy right now? 22, not having played a week.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Like,
Devontae Adams.
but here's the thing. Like, he also is, even if you give him his average for that week, he's still not like a top.
He had one bad week.
14, 8, 26.
Yeah.
I mean, 14.6 is fine.
I mean, this is your point about touches, right? He's averaging like 30 touches a game.
He's getting the touches.
Yeah.
But he also hasn't had terrible, like bad, like this is another one where it's like, but is he touchdown dependent?
Not necessarily.
I mean, because you got 25 touches, you got you 8 points.
I mean, but again, in Tennessee's offense, he
doesn't get a lot of catches as a part of the problem.
No, he doesn't. We knew that going into the season. I mean, here's the thing about it. Like, so that's
just a tough thing with a half point PPR league.
So you're giving me a C+. Here's the thing in defense of my team, and I'll admit, Dak has carried me in the first quarter of the season.
He got a 3 touchdown rushing game.
Everyone gave me shit when I traded up 2 picks to get Dak, and everyone was like, "Oh, Ellis is gonna get him." That's why I wanted him. He's the number 2 quarterback in fantasy. But all that being said, my team is definitely boom or bust. But I have been playing with my hands tied behind my back for the majority of this season. Derrick Henry missing a week. Devontae Adams missing multiple weeks. Kenny Golladay missed week 1 and is now on a bye. I've been really having to dig to a bench that I don't have. But if you look at the averages for my guys, I have enough to make a serviceable starting roster week in, week out. Zach Ertz
has been disappointing.
My tight ends overall have been disappointing because none of them have been. I wanted one of them to be the guy, like a top 5 tight end, and Zach Ertz really hasn't been that yet. Although I think his value has increased with Goddard's injury. But overall, if you look at my lineup top to bottom, right? Dak Prescott is my QB, Henry is my RB1, Taylor is my RB2, Beckham, Adams, Golladay at the wide receiver spots, who are all putting up at around 15 at least a game to 20 a game, depending. Tight end, probably Ertz, unless it's a matchup play. And then that takes care of my flex, like I said, with those 3 receivers. Steelers D, which is 6. Elliott, who cares about a kicker? I've got a starting lineup come playoffs.
So I think
it's just no depth.
I think Jonathan Taylor has been disappointing, considering you expected so much more after Marlon Mack got hurt.
I agree.
Like, you didn't know who was going to be the starter there going into the year. I think you were higher on Jonathan Taylor than you should have been then. And the fact that Marlon Mack is out and he's still...
It's not great, but he is a rookie. He's a rookie.
He's a rookie.
Who's averaging 13 points a game. Again, it's not great, but I want to wait and see.
I also think that
I think
Odell Beckham Jr.'s numbers... I never thought he fit in Cleveland. I still don't think he fits in Cleveland. He's not going to get you a 60-yard rushing touchdown every week.
No, he's going to get a 60-yard passing touchdown from another wide receiver.
But I'm saying, I don't think that he is a top 10 wide receiver in Cleveland. On a different team, he 100% would be. The talent is there. But he doesn't fit in Cleveland.
Cleveland's looked all right this year so far.
They have?
Aren't they like 3-1?
Are they? They're 3rd in the AFC North.
Standings. 3-1.
Oh, yeah, and they had that close win against the Bengals. They almost blew it against the.
I mean, I'm sorry, I was right. They're 3-1.
They're 3-1. And would you bet right now that they win that division?
No. I'm not saying they're going to win the division, but I'm saying. Their offense has looked better lately.
They've looked okay. They have the most talented players, skill position players in the league.
Yeah,
that's great. But.
I mean, here's, like I said, I'm going to give myself... Oh, we've had a chat. Holy crap.
It's just Window.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Window.
Shout out to Window. Sean's bench sucks. Jerry's... okay. By the way, why are you coming at me, bro? He gave you a C+. I gave you, what, a B or B+? Like, fuck off. I'm here defending you on the podcast. Don't bite the hand that feeds, dick. Anyway,
so all I'm saying is, I expect Dak to regress. He's not gonna. So he has 4 rushing touchdowns in the first 4 weeks of the year. He's not gonna get one every week.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not. Derrick Henry, I overall think just because of the half-point PPR thing, he just is a little bit lacking behind where you want your number 1 pick to be because of that. Obviously, he missed a week. because of the fucking bye week. I think Jonathan Taylor, like, do you ever know who's going to be getting, like, honestly, probably the best thing that could help you is if Naheem Hines, who's on your bench, gets hurt. Because then he'll get all the touches. I just think OBJ's numbers are inflated right now as the number 11 wide receiver.
You got me as a C+.
Devontae Adams obviously is going to be doing better. But
I had me in the B minus range. I'm going to give myself a vote of confidence here, given that I'm only 6 points behind you overall in the year, and give myself a B, as I think I did you. You know, I definitely think your team is a little bit better, but I also think my team has enough to get me to the playoffs, and from there, it's anybody's game. Enough about my average team. Let's talk about some other, maybe less average teams. Daryl and Nick. This is an interesting one.
So, yes, I'm giving them a C.
Okay.
And the reason behind that is it's just everything kind of just looks average.
Mm-hmm.
Kyler Murray is number 6 at quarterback. That's fine. Like, that's probably what you're... Obviously, most people aren't going to be doing better than that. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, big week 1. Kind of disappointing since then. David Johnson still sitting right there in that flex range.
Right now, he's been, again, we were talking about disappointing regression. Let's look at his regression.
I mean, is it really that much of a regression?
Not really regression, sorry.
No, he's sitting right where I kind of expected him to be. Like, he was a flex, or he was an RB2 after week 1. Since then, he's sitting right there in that flex range. I said he could be a flex level running back. That's what he's been through a third of the year. Again, I didn't think it was that hot of a take going into the first week of the season.
Hot takes.
Big surprise is Allen Robinson. I think
He's got massive value from that.
he just gets so much value from Nick Foles now being the starter.
Yep.
Like, since he became a starter, it's ridiculous.
10, 7, 10.
Yeah, he has a real quarterback throwing in the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Cooper Kupp is going to get better. I think he's actually underperformed at wide receiver 15 at this point.
Also, underrated snatch of Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, I really don't know too much about that. But, like, he's also another one of those players, though, where you look at his bench. Wide receiver 74, wide receiver 30, wide receiver 131, wide receiver 37.
But the number 1 tight end in fantasy, and Robert Tonyan. Who would have known?
Okay, that's also an inflated number. He got you 30 points last week, and I think he has like 45 total, 53 total. Like, no, like he's looked better. 2 for 25 and a touchdown. 5 for 15 and a touchdown.
The last 3 weeks.
But he went for 698 and 3 touchdowns. Like,
I mean,
that will not happen again.
I agree.
Who is Robert Tonyan? Like, it's not so. Like, one of the things I talked about was Zach's team having Travis Kelce. He's the number 2 fantasy tight end, and you know that can be sustainable. Robert Tonyan being the number 1, it's not sustainable. We know it's not, which is why he's not even starting him. He's starting Tyler Higbee.
He's benefited from Devontae Adams being out. He's one of the big things because obviously there's target share up for grabs.
So yeah, I think CEH is underperforming. I think Cooper Kupp has underperformed at 15. Like I said, it's just like a lot of average on his team.
C is a fair grade.
I think
for
a C is a fair
2-2
grade.
team in
I think
his
a C is a fair
ballpark.
grade.
And also, again, the distinction that I'm going to draw in giving him, I was actually going to give him a C plus, but the distinction that I'm going to draw in making him, like, I gave myself a B. Obviously, I'm giving him a grade that's not even a B minus, a C plus, or giving them, I should say, a grade that's a C plus. Is again, I like to look at the standings when I do these grades to see like where is people scoring at. Daryl and Nick are like 30 points below where you and I sit currently, which is enough of a margin where it can be made up any given week. It happens all the time, but it doesn't not necessarily going to be there week in week out. And it's again, I'll say C plus just because I think it's
Okay.
I think it's that this is, and I think that actually is kind of like there's a tier. I think he's in. I thought a couple weeks ago that there was the bottom tier was Alex. What did I say? I think it was like Alex, Brad, and Daryl and Nick. I want to say it was a couple weeks ago on the podcast, and that tier is since.
Pretty sure James was the third one in that tier.
Maybe. Well, it's since changed. James is now fully in that tier, and I think Daryl and Nick are kind of climbing their way out of it. I mean, they are on a 2-game winning streak. So, also, one interesting thing that now that I'm just looking at the standings right now, the number of roster moves made by each team. I've made the least number of moves. Window has made 8 times as many moves as I have. Interesting stats, just like things to throw out there.
Yeah.
You know. You want to move on to Brad's?
Yeah, we can move on to Brad. So
B-Rad.
I honestly think like his team and Daryl's Nick's team are pretty similar. I'm also giving him a C. I think you look at his starting lineup right now. It's all starters. It's number 9 quarterback. It's the number 8 running back. 17 it's literally a top 10 running or top 10 quarterback, top 10 running back, top 20 running back, top 10 wide receiver, top 10 wide receiver. I mean, his tight end is obviously a little bit lacking there. Does he have a better tight end on his bench somewhere, or is that it?
That's it.
Yeah. So his tight end situation is
He had Goddard is the thing.
it's kind of where I'm at because I think he also had Blake Jarwin going into the year. He got hurt. Dallas Goedert gets hurt. But again, his bench also, that's where things kind of drop. CeeDee Lamb on his bench has been solid, but it's another one of those spots where I think his starting lineup can be good, but his bench is just all over the place. Joshua Kelly, though, could just turn into that RB1 for him now. Now that Austin Eckler is out for the next 6 weeks.
That does. I was to say I had his grade lower until I put that together with the Melvin Gordon injury.
I think his team has underperformed given the talent on his team so far. I think that his team could be better. He's still at 2-2, but he just as easily. I'm not saying that Brad is. I expected Brad to be in the bottom of the basement, especially after the first couple of weeks. It wouldn't surprise me at this point if he's able to sneak his way into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a C.
Yeah,
I don't.
That's where I was at.
Yeah,
it was a C.
I'd say a C. I think he's right with Daryl and Nick in terms of, like you said, he's on the playoff bubble.
Yeah.
But and I think his score. But the only thing that was concerning is I think overall, like you said, because he had a couple bad weeks early, his scoring is down.
Yeah.
And that's an important factor when it comes to wild cards, obviously.
So yeah, but you got to remember, right now,
It's one week can make up that difference.
Not only can 1 week make up the difference in the wild card. What's Brad's record?
2-2.
And what is third place's record?
2-2.
2-2. 1 week, he could just be in third place. Or sorry, probably not third, but he can be a top 5 team in 1 week.
I mean, literally one win separates third and eighth.
Yeah, you don't need to win the wild card when, by the way, 2 weeks from now you could be in second place just because that's how the fucking results could go.
Yeah.
I think Brad's team could be on the upward trajectory here.
Yeah, I would agree. So that then, let me go back. I'll do this way.
Moving down next to the next one is the person who currently is in position for the wild card.
Oh, Jason Smith. Can we talk about this stat right here?
It's kind of crazy how people are averaging an extra what's 112 divided by 4? An extra 28 points per game against.
That's so nuts.
It's crazy. It's obviously he's been pretty unlucky there. He's currently sits at. I'm pretty sure he sits at 6th in points scored right now.
Wait, 600 divided by 4.
600 divided by 4 is 150.
150 points per week against. That's gross.
You're the first one to not drop the most points of the week against him.
That's gross. And I didn't. By the way, I didn't go easy on him. I put up 123 or something like that.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a sub 100. He hasn't even had a sub 120 week yet.
Yeah, it's been a little rough for him.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So, having said that, looking at his team, a couple of things, a couple of notes on his team, which is why it's tough. I'm also giving him. So I gave him a C+.
Wow, you gave him the same grade I got?
I'm giving him a C+.
Get out of here.
Here's why. First of all, he's obviously had bad luck with the points against, but when you look at his team, he still has a very solid starting group. Lamar Jackson has been disappointing, especially with where he took him. I expect him to get better as the season goes on. He gets Cincinnati this week. Okay. Melvin Gordon has been a top 10 running back. Aaron Jones is a fucking monster. Mike Evans, sneakily, the number one wide receiver.
Although averaging 14.8 a week.
Yeah, but look at, so he also was hurt in week 1.
Right.
19.9, 13.2, 21.7, 12.6.
Also, again, they played Thursday night.
They played the Thursday night game.
Remember, it's inflated.
But he's still a top 10. Jarvis Landry obviously has underperformed drastically. His tight end situation also doesn't look
Jimmy Graham.
great. But has he ever started Jimmy Graham?
No, because he keeps starting Evan
No,
Engram.
because it's tough to start him because he's so reliant on touchdowns.
Sure.
When he doesn't score a touchdown, he gets you 5.
Right.
Like,
he's not getting the receptions.
He's not getting the receptions. He's getting you 3-4 catches.
But
a
has
game.
Evan Engram gotten receptions?
So I just don't like the Giants' offense, but 2-6, 3-6.
So he's getting more receptions overall.
Yeah, like it's his team is still in a place where it wouldn't surprise me at all if he sneaks into the playoffs and then Lamar Jackson and Aaron Jones just drop 40 burgers for 3 consecutive weeks.
I mean, it definitely helps that, like, first of all, wait, really quick.
Mm-hmm.
With him having Lamar Jackson, I don't understand for the life of me why he has 3 quarterbacks. I just don't get that.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Here's my take on Jason Smith, and he has had bad luck.
Obviously, when you're having 150 dropped on you a week, 28 points more per game than the second closest person.
I'm giving Jason Smith this, like, kind of like he's in the same tier as Brad and Daryl. I think in my book, I'm giving him a C-. I'm not, but the idea of a C+, the same grade as me. Remember, as bad as his luck has been in terms of total points scored,
he's 20 points behind you. 25 points.
25 points behind me, but that's still significant over the course of a year.
But you gave yourself a C+. You give Daryl a C for being 40 points behind you. Jason's 25 points behind you, and he's not.
Here's again. It's boomer bust guys. Yeah, Mike Evans has been good.
I don't think Mike Evans.
Mike Evans has been good, and he's played on Thursday night. So he's number 1 right now. But that's his average is 14.8. Amari Cooper is averaging a higher clip at 16.7. That's his real number 1 wide receiver if you had to call him one.
Who's still top 5.
I'm saying, they're both.
First of all, I wasn't even looking in his flex. He has Amari Cooper sitting in his flex.
Well, no, I'm saying Amari Cooper, Mike Evans, fantastic.
Melvin Gordon, Aaron Jones, Lamar
obviously. Here's the thing, Melvin Gordon, top 10 RB.
Yeah.
He also benefited from a 25-point performance last week that got his average to 15 points per game. Before that point, overall, he was averaging about 11, 12.
So first of all, if you want to look at it from that, take out his top, take out his worst. Where's he at? He's at 15 points per game.
Okay,
he's averaging 15 points.
Fine,
per game.
and that's fine for an RB too. What I'm saying is,
which is what he is.
The rest of his bench is about where everyone else's is. He has, for some reason, 3 tight ends and 3 quarterbacks on his rosters. And a tight end I can understand a little bit of having again, I have 3 tight ends. I get it.
The tight end thing I get,
but the quarterbacks makes no sense to me when you have Lamar Jackson.
I don't really get the quarterback situation.
And ultimately, I think his team is again on the playoff bubble, not knocking it at all, and he's had a lot of bad luck. But I also I don't know. I don't think it's in the. I think my team wins match. He beat me this week. I think my team is going to win matchups with him more often than not. I think my team will finish with if you even taking out the 1-3 versus my 2-2, I think my team will finish the rest of the season with a better record than his. I will win more games overall. I will put up more points than him.
I
overall.
look at his roster. I see a top 10 quarterback, who is underperforming. Looking at number 8, he has 2 top 10 running backs. He has 2 top 10 wide receivers.
I mean, the sophomore slump is also a thing, by the way.
Well, that would make a lot of sense if he wasn't in his 3rd year.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, Lamar Jackson really rose to prominence, I would say, this past season, right?
He won MVP in his 2nd year, but he won 8 consecutive games, made it to the playoffs.
I get it. I'm just saying, last year was his MVP season.
But you can't talk about a sophomore slump when he won MVP.
I'm just talking about he hasn't been the same guy this year.
I agree, and he's still the number 8 fantasy quarterback. He's drastically underperforming, averaging 21.1 points per game. Think about that. He's drastically underperforming at 21.1 at the number 8 quarterback. He still has 2 top 10 running backs, 2 top 10 wide receivers. Also, you kind of expect Jarvis Landry to finish a bit better than the number 50 wide receiver, right?
Sure.
Would it surprise you if he ends up as a flex? Finishes top 25?
Now that he's number 50.
But I'm saying, would it surprise you if he finishes in the top 25? He's number 50 now through 4 weeks. Would it surprise you if he finishes in the top 25?
A little.
It wouldn't surprise me. I don't necessarily think it's going to happen. It wouldn't surprise me.
It would surprise me a little. I'm saying only a little bit. Either way,
No, like I think he's another one of those teams where like
He's cursed.
He's gotten very unlucky with the points against.
He's cursed. He didn't change his name at the beginning of the season.
Gotten very unlucky with the points against, but he has. He essentially, assuming people once we get through bye weeks and shit, he has like 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a quarterback set.
Assuming he can get through bye weeks, his team is not as deep as.
No one's team is deep though.
I agree. I'm just saying he has to get through that. Aaron Jones isn't Aaron Jones on bye this week?
You're sitting here acting like I gave him some amazing grade. I gave him a C+.
You gave him the same grade as me.
Yeah, he's 20 points scored behind you, man. Like, what do you want me to say?
Want your grades to be better. Yeah, Aaron Jones is on bye this week.
Yeah.
So, okay. That's why I started Earl Henderson. James.
James's team.
Are we giving some bad grades finally? I mean, we had so far the worst grade I think has been a C-.
And that was by you. The worst grade I've given is I said I wasn't really doing minuses. I was just kind of doing grade and then plus. That's kind of how I did mine.
I mean, James in his defense has scored more points than Brad.
Yeah, he has.
He
has just barely, but yes.
It doesn't help that, like, obviously, AJ Brown has not had the start to the season that he'd hoped.
Well, he's been hurt.
Right, I'm saying like due to injury. Dalvin Cook, Chris Carson have been carrying his team.
Yeah, I'm giving him also a C. And here's why. 2 top 5 running backs. Top 5 tight end, not close. Johnny Smith, I think, is a little overinflated at number 7. But that's also with Chris Godwin not really playing.
He needs wide receiver help.
Chris Godwin hasn't really been playing.
I'm saying that he needs wide receiver help.
Hollywood Brown hasn't been playing.
Desperately.
Who's the other one? Who's his other wide receiver? The one for the Titans.
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown hasn't. But I'm saying like AJ Brown, Chris Godwin, Marquise Brown, all have missed time. Like
Devontae Adams and Kenny Galladay had missed time. You gave me shit.
I gave you a better grade than I'm giving him. And you also don't have 2 top 5 running backs.
What did you give him?
I said I gave him a C.
Okay.
I gave you a C+. Like
right.
He's like I'm saying like he has 2 top 5 running backs. You don't. He has 3 wide receivers that have been missing time. You have. Like I don't know. Like he also has a much better tight end situation than you do.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews is number 4, and also somehow Johnny Smith. Like I said, I think it's overinflated. But he's the number 7.
The difference in points on average between tight ends. Let's go to tight ends for a second. The difference in points per game right now between those two is like 4 per game. I don't disagree that like at running back, James is set. His problem is he does not right now. AJ Brown, like you said, he's had injuries to his wide receivers.
I don't think AJ Brown's played this year. Well, no, he has 6 points.
He's played.
I'm sorry. How many points is? Yeah, he's played. He played in week 1 and hasn't played since.
Right. So AJ Brown's a big question mark. At least, like, is he going to come back to like? Is he going to come back? Full strength. Is he going to be able to do it? Chris Godwin has missed time. He's out this week, so he's not going to be in this week. So that's why James is starting Justin Jefferson at his wide receiver 2 spot, who has been putting up more than 10 a week. But can you rely on Justin Jefferson in Minnesota to be No,
Justin Jefferson. I don't think Justin Jefferson. I think he's at number 19 right now. It's a little bit higher than I don't.
Yeah, he's Justin Jefferson's overperforming.
I think he has overperformed, but his top 3 wide receivers have missed 6 games. Like,
I'm just saying that like
that it should come to an end eventually.
I'm surprised that he hasn't made a move. And by the way, David Montgomery is a number 12 running back right now who played on Thursday night. Like after having played on Thursday night, he's averaging 11.8 a week.
Yeah, but we also know that if his top 3 wide receivers weren't hurt, he'd probably be starting one of those in his flex.
Maybe.
Like David Montgomery's a good flex running back.
Yeah, he's fine.
That you can start when Chris Cook and Dalvin Cook.
Deshaun Watson also hasn't been whatever round. I don't know what round James drafted him in, but I think Deshaun Watson was drafted right around the time that
64th, 7th round.
Okay, so like right around when I got Dak.
Underperforming for 7th or for a 7th round pick, obviously.
And he has a decent defense.
His bench is also still, like I said, I think the big thing is just the fact that his top 3 wide receivers have missed so much time.
Sure.
He still has top 5 running backs. A set it and forget it tight end.
I haven't given him a grade, and I'm going to give him a grade.
I don't think I didn't overhype him. I gave you a C+. I'm giving him a C. Despite the fact that you don't have 2 top 5 running backs. I gave you a better grade.
I'm giving him a C-.
Okay.
But I gave myself a B is the thing. It's just, I'm surprised he hasn't made a move with one of those 3 running backs. I really am. I mean, I understand that none of these injuries are like long term, but like,
But it's just so hard to give away a running back
I
because he only like,
maybe
when a
David Montgomery.
when a bye week rolls around, who is he going to start then?
It's true. I mean, he's gonna start both those running backs and get like, and again,
But I'm saying like as soon as Chris Carson has his bye week, which like who if he gets rid of David Montgomery, who does he start? Is he starting Tony Pollard as the backup? Carlos Hyde's also the backup.
yeah.
Like Alex, like he literally just has 3 handcuffs.
Yeah,
like,
he doesn't.
maybe
You're right. You're
Kerryon
right.
Johnson's also.
No, you're right about that. He doesn't have anything
like,
left in the tank to trade.
It's part of the reason why like I was looking at trades and I'm like, I was talking to a few different people about either Austin Eckler or Miles Sanders, and I was kind of like, I can't trade away Miles Sanders.
Right.
Austin Eckler and Zeke share a bye week.
Right.
It's like if once that bye week rolls around, I have no option.
Let's talk about Alex.
I am gonna be very nice to Alex because it's his wedding day. And I'm going to give him a D. I'm not giving him an F. I said last week, I think I want to hit the panic button on his team, and then he put up 89.8 points. Kenyon Drake, as his number 1 running back, has just been the biggest bust possible. 2nd round pick on Kenyon Drake, it's really rough.
No injury issues either, I don't think.
Michael Thomas. Oh, you mean for Kenyon Drake?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's just
He's
not,
a bit of an injury concern against week 4, but yeah.
But like he just isn't
Underperforming.
scoring points.
Yeah.
That's the major thing. His major problem is that Michael Thomas has not really played. It was his 1st round pick, and he hasn't played. Juju Smith-Schuster has also, I feel like, really underperformed and has already had his bye week. He had a big week 1 and has been okay the next 2 weeks, but then had to have his bye.
He's averaging about 5 or 6 catches a game. He's averaging about 15 points a game. I disagree. Like, he had his bye week last week. That's why his rating is low. I will say that overall, Alex's team is in real danger zone territory. DJ Moore is averaging less than 10.
So another thing too is his 3rd or 4th round pick, Le'Veon Bell, been on the IR all year. I mean, I don't know why you're like, woohoo, I get to take advantage of an injury. Woohoo. Like, yeah, you're going to win the bet because he's going to miss 6 weeks.
I mean, I feel like we should do fair play and, like, either invalidate the bet or have it be, like, prorated by the games he plays kind of thing. But
I mean, yeah, if you want to go by average at that, I mean, like, we made
We'll
the
talk
bet
about
of that
it.
he's going to finish as a top 10. Like, obviously, did anyone predict that in week 1 he's going to get hurt and who knows when he's coming back? Have they said anything about him when he's coming back?
they're saying week 5, I think.
Bell could find himself activated starting for week 5 against the Cardinals, but he's also still on the IR, and tomorrow is week 5.
The good news is that if he does come back, he might be playing in front with a different head coach.
Maybe. Like I said,
I hope not.
Like I said, it just really sucks for Alex that 2 of his top 4 picks have been out with injury.
Yeah,
That sucks.
He's had a lot of bad luck this year, but here's the thing: he's got a number 2 kicker. He's got a decent defense. I don't know how long he had Rodrigo Blankenship. Obviously not. He didn't draft Rodrigo Blankenship.
Ronald Jones has been okay, but again, I still think he's losing the touches to Fournette as the year goes on.
DJ Chark is serviceable. Honestly, I'm surprised he's not starting DJ Chark instead of DJ Moore.
I don't think this is a good.
You know what
match.
I realized? Alex loves guys who have 2 initials.
DJ, AJ, JK, TJ.
That's what I'm saying.
Another DJ.
He has DJ, AJ, JK, TJ.
Yeah.
That should be his team name, just all those initials.
I'm kind of wondering if Justin Jackson might get a little bit more work now that
with Eckler's injury.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, here's the thing. I would say to Alex, because it's his wedding day, I'm going to agree with you. A D is the grade. If it wasn't his wedding day, I was going to go D minus, maybe F. But it's his wedding day. I can't.
I just think, like, again, when you lose 2 of your top 4 picks, it's just really hard to be successful.
Here's the problem. He's the lowest grade right now. He's the lowest scorer right now, and I think there's a decent gap in between them. He is right now. He's the favorite for Sacco, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, he's like 50 points behind.
He's averaging less than 100 a game, and it's not. There's a gap there, man.
Yeah, he's like 45 points behind the second to last in points.
Man, not great.
It's rough. It's rough.
Let's snap these predictions out so we can get this done. Week 5, Window and I not off to a good start. I struggle with this decision so much. Whether it was like Anthony Miller, N'Keal Harry, I needed someone. I was trying to even make a trade at one point because I was just not loving starting Anthony Miller or Preston Williams or somebody. I said, screw it. I'm going to start Anthony Miller, and he went out and got 4.8 and underperformed. And honestly,
like, I want Window to lose. I do.
Me too.
Like, I want him to lose. Sorry, Window, if you're still in the chat. Hate to break that to you. I don't know if you're still here or not. I want him to lose because I think his team has just been drastically over. Like, I picked him as a potential top 3 team, but his team is just so drastically overperforming right now. I think James Robinson has to come back down to earth.
I was going to say the same exact thing. Literally the same exact
Mike
sentence.
Davis still could have a big day. I think Tyler Lockett had 4 points last week. He probably has a bit of a bounce back week. He's starting Tyreek Hill and George Kittle, so
I don't. Do you want me to do it first?
I'm picking Window.
I'm picking Window too.
I
hate myself for it, but I'm gonna pick Window because again, like the flex says it all.
Oh, speaking of which, before we jump into these predictions, since we've already started. So far through 4 weeks, my predictions, I'm 11-9.
That's over 500.
It's okay. It's not great. You currently sit at 13-7.
Let's go! All right, hey, we're both over 500.
We're doing okay.
Yeah,
we're doing okay.
Solid. You know, we're getting things overall more often than wrong. Nice.
So yeah, now back into this. Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna go Window, and again, it's only because the flex says it. Sometimes in matchups, you literally just look at the flex. If the rest of the lineups are pretty much a wash, he beats me at tight end. So I beat him at QB and RB1. He beats me at RB2. Wide receiver 1, kind of a wash. Wide receiver 2, he's got the edge. Tight end, he's got the edge. Flex, he's got the edge. Defense is kickers. Who gives a shit?
I think this run that he's had with the Colts is about to come to a crashing halt because.
You mean the Panthers? Or are you talking about the Colts defense?
Yeah, the Colts defense.
Sorry, I was confused.
No, this run that he's had where it's just like the Colts are the number 1 fantasy team, that's gonna come to an end, and it very easily they dropped. I mean, maybe I shouldn't be saying this right now before the thing goes out, but like they gave up 41 points they put up 41 points last week.
Window is playing me when 2 of my starting 3 wide receivers are out. He has no one on bye.
Yeah.
That's and AP might have been a flex play for me, but he's also on bye. So honestly, I'm still debating also putting Nyheim Hines in instead of N'Keal Harry, but either way, it doesn't matter. I'm giving the edge to Window.
Yeah.
The edge this week.
Nick and Daryl playing against Jason. McMillan, I think he's on a 2-game losing streak, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check that. But this is actually a surprising, these are teams trending in vastly different directions. So only 1-game losing streak, sorry. But either way, McMillan, very high scoring team in 3rd place right now, top of the 2-2 teams. Daryl and Nick kind of coming back a little bit. Do they keep momentum, or does McMillan move to 3-2? I mean, obviously it benefits Nick and Daryl that Allen Robinson already put up 14, although the Bucs D was fine.
And Julio Jones is probably going to miss the game again this week.
Yep.
I don't know.
I've got my pick in.
All right. Yeah, I got my pick in too.
Same time?
Sure.
1, 2, 3. McMillan.
Yes. Yeah, we're both taking McMillan here.
I mean, yeah, Patrick Mahomes, Alvin Kamara, James Conner, that 1, 2, 3 right there.
Yeah, I don't love that he has to start Deontay Johnson this week. I know you're bigger on him than I am.
I'm not, but he's been underperforming.
Yeah.
But who else does he start?
CEH has just also been underperforming. David Johnson's only a flex that he has to start. He's starting 3 running backs too.
Yeah. And Waller has a significant edge over Higbee at tight end, I would say.
Yeah. So yeah, I got to go McMillan this week.
I agree. Even though Daryl and Nick jumped up to an early lead and the projections are fairly close. The battle of 1 and 3 teams. This is, and they've already.
This is a big one. I feel like if you lose this matchup,
you're playing for the.
Your chances of finishing top 5 just go down by so much.
And what's interesting is they've already had at least each of us has already had one player in who's put up
Both had
14 to
good days.
15.
Yeah. I mean, this one isn't close for me. I know who I'm picking very easily.
I mean, you're picking James, I would imagine.
I'm picking James.
You know what?
Michael Thomas coming back. This could be a good week. Like, maybe this is the spark that Alex needs to get a win.
Every indication in the world is that James should win this matchup. But it is Alex's wedding day. I'm giving you the nod because you're getting married today. I'm putting my 13-7, whatever it is, record on the line here for you to get this big win against James. Do not let me down. I'm going Alex. And honestly, here's the thing. Kenyon Drake has a good matchup. There's reasons.
This is probably Kenyon Drake's best
matchup of the year.
He's been horrendously bad as a second-round pick.
But he is getting touches, and he's going to be playing a Jets team that is reeling and about to fire their head coach. Couple that with the fact that, like you said, Michael Thomas is coming back and is playing against the Chargers.
Yeah.
Who are, on a Monday night game. They got a little extra time to make sure he's getting back up to health. Juju could go off against Philadelphia's porous defense. There are matchups here that
these
favor
are good
Alex.
matchups. I think I just like James's team.
Oh, I love
better,
James's team.
But I think that he does have some good matchups over here. So
Alex, I'm giving you a shot here.
I'm sticking with my pick of James.
Don't let me down.
All right. Just My Luck versus... Zach, change your fucking team name. I think Josh Jacobs' poor game streak continues. Sorry, I accidentally clicked out of it there.
It's the time every week where Jerry shits on Zach's team.
I haven't made my prediction yet, but I don't, like I said, I think Josh Jacobs had that huge week 1, and it's going to continue to just not be great for him.
Zach, you should change your team name to Jerry Hates My Team.
Yeah, that'd probably be a better name. God, it just really sucks that Aaron Jones is on a bye this week.
I mean, it's Zach.
I'm going with Zach.
Yeah, duh. It's Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. It's gonna Lamar Jackson could absolutely be
Lamar
better
Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson is gonna have one of his better weeks. He's playing Cincinnati. The problem is that who's the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos?
I think it's Drew Lock again this week.
Oh, is it?
I think he's coming back this week.
Oh, cool.
I think.
So New England Patriots are really good at taking away the thing you want to use. Melvin Gordon. They're not going to let Melvin Gordon beat him. They're going to say whoever the fuck is starting at their quarterback, that's going to be the
big thing for me. The big thing for me is Kareem Hunt is going to be the guy.
Kareem Hunt's going to be the guy. I think as much as I think Josh Jacobs is still going to be down, Kareem Hunt's now the guy.
And Jason has had his number 1 wide receiver, other than maybe Amari Cooper playing. Although Amari Cooper has a good matchup against the Giants.
He has a good matchup against the Giants.
But
just know, I'm saying Melvin Gordon I think is a bad matchup.
Right.
I think that Aaron Jones is out, which doesn't help. Also, do you know which team gives up the most
points to defenses?
No, that's not what I was going to say. I lost my train of thought when I started hearing.
Well, I was going to say one of the best offensive matchups you can have against any defense you're starting is to play if your defense is playing the New York Jets.
Yeah. So Arizona, that definitely helps as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I am going with Zach's team.
Send Jason to the basement.
But I want. Like, Zach needs to lose. Zach has gotten
every
very
week. Here
lucky.
It is.
No, but Zach. No, I'm not saying that I think Zach is gonna lose. I'm saying this is a week.
We know you want him to lose. You say it every week.
But no, when you're 4-0, first of all, you should want him to lose too.
I mean, a part of me does, but now with how much you've wanted him to lose, I feel like in our podcast, we have it's like the Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless thing kind of.
Neither one of us makes that many dumbass takes.
Well, no, but I'm saying I feel like they have to do the banter thing back and forth. Like one of us says something, the other person has to say no. I disagree. What? Come on, Skip. Come on, Skip.
I'm not Skip though.
Come on, Skip.
I don't just say things just to have it be interesting.
To have hot takes. Do you want to go ahead and pick yourself now and list all the reasons why?
I can give you the reasons why. I have a lot of reasons why here.
Do you ever think the reason that I'm 2 picks ahead of you in our little prediction pool is because you pick yourself every week?
I'm just saying. Obviously, I like my team more than I like Brad's.
I mean, that's not a hot
He's
take.
got Joe Burrow against Baltimore.
Yeah, it's not,
I think
it's not great.
that's not great. Joe Mixon,
Joe Mixon
against
against
Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Like Joe Mixon's
The
not
Joes.
Joe Mixon's not going to have another 40-point game, I don't think.
surprised
Todd
he-
Gurley's going to have his best matchup. I mean, remember what Josh Jacobs did to the Carolina defense. Todd Gurley could have a big week. DeAndre Hopkins gets the Jets defense.
Yeah.
Like,
There are matchups
he
to
has
like.
some good matchups. He has some bad matchups. I mean, obviously, overall, I think I like my team more.
Make sure you put a kicker in.
This is also a very interesting week, too, because I also have the Ravens defense.
Yeah.
So it could be like there's going to be a lot of clashing things.
Speaking of defenses, one more matchup to like with Brad's team is the 49ers going up against the Dolphins. Fitzpatrick always has a chance to throw like 3 turnovers.
But Miami's actually not been bad.
they're not terrible, but they're also not like elite. Like
Are
again,
they 2-2 right now? Oh, they're 1-3.
They're 1-3, but they all of them have been like close games. Like the Bills, they lost by 3. Last week they lost by a touchdown to the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Like they're not
I think
as
Garoppolo's back.
he is. He's coming back for the first time this week. The Dolphins are not as bad as their 1-3 record indicates. They're definitely a
They're
team
probably
on the
more like a
rise.
2-2 team.
Yeah, but they're not gonna. This is a rebuild anyway.
Is Cam back this week? Because that like really affects Julian Edelman's value.
I don't believe he is.
Because like, I mean, I don't know how anyone thought that Jarrett Stidham was going to be the starter. In week 4, he failed to see any solid.
Read the second sentence.
With
So I
the
think
team still
I
left.
don't think they're gonna go with Cam Newton this week. I think he's still out. I am going to give the nod.
I'm only projected to win by 30 right now. So.
Well, he doesn't have a kicker in either. Not that it's gonna get that adds like 8 or 10 to the projection.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the nod to you, unsurprisingly. I'm sorry, Brad. I want to root against him, but like logic dictates that Russell Wilson, Ezekiel Elliott, Miles Sanders, Adam Thielen. You know, I'm not as big on the Calvin Ridley train as you are. Keenan Allen serviceable. Like,
What do you mean? You're not as big on the Calvin Ridley train as I am. He's just been the number 1 fantasy wide receiver, despite having a
Boomer.
week where he had 0 points.
boomer bust guy.
He's not. I mean, obviously, like this week, you can say that he had a bad week. but
A lot of it is the Falcons are playing in a lot of shootouts where they're blowing leads. But he had 29, 26, and then he came back. I don't know if did he get injured in that game against Chicago or was it
yes, he got injured in the game against Chicago, and he still had 5 for 110.
Okay. I mean, he's a big play guy.
He hurt his ankle in that game.
He is
but I mean, he still
deep
played.
threat wide
he still
receiver.
played against Green Bay.
I'm just saying he's
there's no reason he had 5 targets. He should have.
in my opinion, he's a boomer bust guy. I'm just saying I wasn't big on Calvin Ridley going into the year. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying like he's.
I mean, I wasn't super
not
high on him.
elite.
He was my 5th round pick.
Yeah, I mean, you got good value, amazing value out of him now. But I'll give the nod to you. You do need both. Of you need to do something at tight end.
Tight end's the only thing. Like I said, I still like my depth. I still
the
have
thing is-
Jerick McKinnon. I mean, Austin
like-
Eckler obviously being out for like 6 weeks now hurts.
The real difference for me in this matchup,
startable
now that I'm
receivers.
looking at the lineups a little bit more, it really is. I actually think that like Burrow and Wilson, Burrow could have a good day. Mixon and Zeke. Mixon had a 40 burger last week.
Not against the Baltimore defense.
I understand it's Baltimore, but I think you look at matchups more than I do with regard to Baltimore. Like you are so big on Baltimore's defense, and they are a number 2 defense right now. But
no, like it's not even that I'm like, it's Baltimore's defense is good.
I get it.
Jacksonville's defense
Hold on,
is
hold on.
terrible.
So what I'm saying is-
Fitzmagic tore him up.
What I'm saying is, Miles Sanders, Todd Gurley. I don't see much of a distinction there, especially like if you're talking matchups.
Honestly, I think Todd Gurley is a much better play this week than Miles Sanders.
Well,
Miles Sanders has.
I'm saying
Pittsburgh's
I think
defense.
they're fairly they're in the same tier of a start. Hopkins, Thielen. Hopkins has a great matchup, but Seattle has been a
Thielen has the best matchup of the week. No one has given up more vertical passing yards
Right.
than the Seahawks.
But
this is the matchup.
what I'm
for
saying is
Thielen.
Stephon Diggs also has had some, like at least I think 1 week has had a big game. Like he is a deep threat wide receiver, as is Calvin Ridley. Where I look at this matchup, again, what I said earlier in the podcast, one of the things I look to matchups to see where I draw my line is the flex. Keenan Allen versus right now, and I'm not saying it'll hold right now, Will Fuller. And even if it's not going to be Will Fuller, who do you say? CeeDee Lamb, Leonard Fournette, Raheem Mostert maybe is the start against Miami. But I actually that's probably what I would do is start Mostert. Maybe Josh Kelly with Eckler out. But either way,
But Josh Kelly's also not the number 2 guy.
either way, Keenan Allen beats all those guys. And not to mention you have the Ravens defense. Granted they're going against Joe Burrow, but Ravens defense. I'm giving you the nod this week, although I think it will be closer than the projection indicates.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
That's our show. Thank you so much for watching.
Is anybody still on here?
Y'all
just
want me to lose
because I beat
Jerry. I want you to lose because you don't deserve to be 3-1. That's why I want you to lose.
Yeah.
You should. I picked you to be in the bottom 3. That's what happened.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I gave you a better grade than he did, because he gave everyone C's except for himself and like 2 other people.
I gave Zach an A. I gave 3 people B's, and I gave out a D. So
That's true. You did.
So
give
yeah,
him a
the middle tier, the average tier, all got C's. Crazy hot take there.
Come on, Skip. All right.
I think that you like act like I make some I think like that's what your mindset is like. Oh, you're just Skip Bayless throwing
Come
out
on,
just
Skip.
total nonsense
Come on, Skip.
just to get clicks, and
Come
it's
on,
like
Skip.
I feel like everything I say is pretty reasonable.
Come on, Skip.
It's pretty reasonable.
Come on, Skip. We'll catch you guys next week. Good luck in your matchups. And Alex, love you, man. Congratulations, dude. Seriously. And then just hit the
The start virtual camera.
But really?